Welcome everyone.
Sure.
Today it's great to have Farzin Mazinani, an award-winning author and dedicated transformation coach and mentor. Welcome, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great to have you here. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about your background?
Sure. So let's talk about my path to entrepreneurship. So I started my journey at age 12 with some big questions
Right.
that I had. So those questions are not the typical question that a 12-year-old asks, but I was curious about knowing the reason that I'm here and my purpose and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find out the source of joy and happiness in life. And I couldn't get the answer from my teachers. I couldn't get the answer from my parents or friends. So I had to do my own research. So at the time, I'm talking about more than 40 years ago, I didn't have access to internet. There was no internet, there was no YouTube that you could research things. So I had to rely on books. So in the period of 12 years, I had more than 1,000 books in my personal library to find the meaning of life. The meaning of life and joy, the source of joy. And I was even more confused because when you don't know, you don't know. When you start knowing things, you realize that there are a lot more to just know. So I was even more confused and I was more frustrated because I went through a lot of paths to find the answer, but I couldn't find whatever I was looking for. So I made a radical decision. That decision was that I said that I can't get the things that I want, so I'm gonna trap myself in a room. Self-isolation. So I went to a room, closed the door, there was no window inside, so I turned the light off. I said that I don't want to have distractions of light and sound, so there was absolute silence and absolute darkness. So it was me, myself, my thoughts, my emotions. I had to face myself in that situation. So 5 days passed, close to 5 days. I didn't know at the time. When I came out, I found out it was 5 days, because when you're in there, it's absolute darkness. You don't know if it's day or night or how many hours has passed. So I had an experience that changed my life. That experience was that I felt a warmness, a feel of warmness in my heart, and then it spread all over my body. And then all of a sudden I started to sweating badly and shaking, and there was light and there was music inside. It wasn't outside. Outside was absolute darkness and absolute silence, but inside I was connected to a source that I didn't know that existed, and that was my own heart. That wasn't anything else. It was all the things that I was looking for was in my own heart, nothing else. And so I felt I'm connected to everything and everyone in that moment. So I came out of that room because I didn't need to stay in isolation anymore. I came out with two realizations. One was the source of all joy that I was looking for was within me. Because happiness is different than joy. Happiness needs a reason. Outer circumstances cause us to be happy or sad. And there are two sides of a coin. Sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are not. But joy doesn't need anything. So when you have that source of joy in your heart, it doesn't matter what the outer circumstances is. You can use it to have a good feeling. So that was the first realization. And the second one was very important. The second one was I found out the source of wisdom is within my heart as well. And that was crucial to me because I was looking for all the information, all the things in the books, but it was all within me, in my heart, the source of true wisdom, the source of all the information that is in the books, all the things, big things that people create for themselves is within their heart. So I always say that every one of us is one idea away from being a multimillionaire or being on top of our game. Because if we have that inspiration, if we have that intuition, that's something that downloads and we find we didn't learn it from somewhere else, we just realize about something and then we act on it, we can build an empire based on that. You have to bring an original idea into life, and where it is coming from is within our heart. So our heart is source of two things. One is joy and the other one is wisdom, which is not comparable to knowledge or information, because knowledge or information is a bottom up approach. We just put the pieces of the puzzle to find out the end picture. We go step by step to find about something, but wisdom is a top down approach. So it means that somebody just shows you the end picture. You realize that the picture is that. You don't need to put the pieces together. All you have to do is to be able to connect to the source of wisdom, which is in our heart. But I realized that it is not easy to have that connection. Sometimes it's not easy to have that clear heart. And I was thinking about it. What is the reason that people cannot have that kind of moments more often to bring the good things to the world as an entrepreneur or whatever that they are pursuing in life? Sometimes it's not easy. So I was thinking about it. That was the question that I had. A few years passed, and so I immigrated to Canada. I was there for a while, and I had to forget about all my background and everything. I had to start from scratch. I was working somewhere. I hurt my back. And it was an injury that caused me to go through chronic pain for 15 years. Because almost every week I had to go to therapy to release the tension from my back that would cause a frozen shoulder. So I wouldn't be able to just move my neck to the side. So I had to go and do something about it. So what happened was that specialists couldn't help me because they couldn't find anything in the MRIs. Nothing was showing up in the MRIs. They couldn't point their finger to this specific muscle that is pulled or something like that. And medication wouldn't help. So I was frustrated again. So what happened was a friend of mine came over and she said that I might be able to help you. And because I tried everything at the time, I said, yeah, let's do it, see what happens. She gave me a couple of phone calls, and then what happened was that when she gave me those phone calls, she released the trapped emotions that I was carrying based on the accident I had. So when you have an accident like that, you lose your job and you're worried about providing for your family and so on. So you go through a lot of emotions. And sometimes we cannot process all those emotions completely. So our subconscious mind trap it somewhere in our body. And it happens for everybody. So everybody on average has about 200 of those trapped emotions. So she released those emotions. And what happened was the pain was gone and never came back. And I was amazed by the process, how it is possible. She just gave me a couple of phone calls and released those. So she told me that you have a talent to do the same thing for others. So I went through the certifications under Dr. Bradley Nelson and became a emotion code practitioner and started helping others. The other thing that she did was she dismantled my heart wall. And she explained that based on the experiences that we have in life, sometimes we need to protect our heart because heart is very sensitive. There is some phenomena called broken heart syndrome. And so the same line that we see on the bone when we have a fractured bone under x-ray, we see that there's a line. The same line appears on our heart as well. That is, a Japanese scientist just discovered that a few years back, that when they take the picture of the heart, they see those lines. Those are the broken part of the heart. So broken heart is real. So we have to protect our heart. We have to protect our heart.
How do you know it's broken, though?
Yeah, when it is severe, the symptom is like heart attack.
Oh,
You
so
go
it's
to
serious
the doctor and
right
you
away.
said that I have heart attack. They feel that it might be a heart attack, so they have to examine that to realize if it's heart attack or broken heart syndrome when it's severe. But in other cases, when it's not that severe, what happens is all the breakups that we have in relationships, all the dilemma that we might have with relationships with others, or the grief that we experience when we lose a loved one or something, we lose something in life, we go through the process of grief. Those all put their mark on our heart. So
100%.
more than 93% of people have the heart wall. So what is heart wall? Well, heart wall is the protective mechanism. Why? Because we have to protect our heart. So our subconscious mind says that you are in that hard situation. I'm gonna try my best to protect you. So the subconscious mind grabs those trapped emotions that we have in our body, grabs some of them, and builds a shelter around our heart. So that shelter is made of trapped emotions. And what it does is that it protects us at the time. But the problem is that it stays with us for the rest of our life almost until it is dismantled.
Correct.
And so it is like living in a bomb shelter 10 years after the war is over.
All right.
Because so we are under attack, we go to the bomb shelter, and we don't have any communication with outside world. So we stay in the bomb shelter for 10 years and we don't know what's happening on the outside. So the feeling is like that. We are having those kind of experiences in life that takes us to the point that we protect ourselves, and then we stay in that protective mode forever. So we don't have enough relationship with ourselves, clear relationship with ourselves and others and life. So it affects everything. It affects the wisdom that is coming out from the heart as well. And it affects the joy that is coming out of heart as well. Remember, we were talking about the joy and wisdom. So we are blocking those with the heart wall. So we have those heart walls. So I got my answer in that experience, that whatever that is causing people to not have those clear messages that is coming from inside out is the protective mechanism that they have, which is called heart wall. So she dismantled my heart wall, and it was like freedom for me. Everything changed after. It's like a transformation. It's like getting out of prison, the self-made prison that we have in a society. So everything was different after the experience, and it was a breakthrough that I had. But something else happened years after, and I went to the mountain for a ski, and I fell down and broke my shoulder. I went to the doctor and emergency, and they took the x-ray and they took the MRI, and the surgeon said that you broke your scapula, which is a big bone in your left shoulder. And he said the impact should be so high to be able to break that, because that bone is very strong and is covered by muscles. And he said, I've only seen this kind of fracture in car accidents. How did you manage to break it? And I explained that after 40 years of skiing, I'm a professional skier, and I was going slow on a flat surface. Nobody was around me. And all of a sudden, I fell down with no reason. And I tried to get up. I couldn't move my left arm. So that
Right.
was odd, and something that
Yeah.
normally wouldn't happen, but I had that experience. So my conclusion was that when something odd happens in life, because life is my best friend, that is my perspective. So
Yeah.
it means that I've received a gift in an ugly paper.
Yeah.
So I
That you
have to
didn't
dig
know
down.
existed. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to dig down to find the reason for that thing to happen, because I know even if I don't find in that moment, I will find out later. We all had that experience that something bad has happened to us years after we look back and see the blessings that we had from whatever happened in that moment. So
Yeah.
that was my conclusion, that life is my friend, so I received a gift. So I was digging down to find what that gift is. So I said that I cannot use my left arm because every slight movement in my left hand would make me cry from pain. And they gave me a lot of strong painkillers. And they said that we cannot cast it. You have to deal with it for 6 months. It's you and these painkillers.
I feel that. I feel that. That was horrendous. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then they said that we cannot do much, so you have to deal with the pain. So I went home. I couldn't use my left arm, but I said that I still can use my right hand. So I'm gonna be starting writing the book that was overdue for a long time, because I wanted to write a book, but I didn't have a time. But now I had all the time in the world.
All the time
so
in the
I
world.
started writing. Something magical happened. Yeah, it was an experience that I had. So something magical happened. What was it? That as soon as I started writing, I noticed that I'm in the basement for 12 hours, 14 hours writing, and I just didn't take any painkillers, and I didn't just I forgot about hunger and being tired or everything else. I'm just focused on writing, and I knew that that was the definition of being in the zone, being in the flow state that some people talk about. I knew it mentally, but I never had direct experience with that. And that was a sweet experience, because you are so focused and the information just comes not from your head, it's coming from your heart, because your heart is open and you write and write and write, and you're amazed by whatever you're writing because it's all new to you too. You're just a channel for that kind of information to come out. So that was quite an experience I had. So I finished my book in a couple of weeks. Yeah, I was able to publish the book. And so that was my journey. So I went through some changes when I became familiar with the emotion code and helping others to release their emotions. I started my entrepreneurship and built that business. And so I realized a lot of things is happening in the life of someone who wants to achieve something. So we all know about the situation that we are in a loop. So what does it mean? So in my book I have 3 types of stagnation I talk about. One is the static stagnation. Sometimes we are stuck in life and we cannot move at all. So when you're facing something big shift in your life, like a breakup or losing your job or something big, you don't even want to get out of bed. You are stuck. So it is called static stagnation. We all face those kind of moments in our life, but we move on. So the second type of stagnation is dynamic stagnation. It means that we are moving but on a circle. It's a routine life. Repeat and repeat and repeat. So it is like being in a comfort zone. You're comfortable with what you're doing and you stay in there. And then you look back, your life is gone. No achievement, no excitement, no impact, nothing. You just wasted your life. So, and sometimes it is promoted by the society as well. They say that it's a safe way to live. And so some of us think that is not the best way to live. We want to achieve more in life. We want to be excited about the things that we create. So that's why we start the path of entrepreneurship. We want to get out of that comfort zone. I don't know if you had that experience or not. So you were not satisfied with things that people say. You wanted to achieve more. Have you had that experience before?
You know, it's interesting that the way you mentioned it, that you need to get out of your comfort zone. And I think that is 90% of the people, 99% of the people are just going through the motions in their comfort zones and all of that stuff. And then there is the 1%. And in that 1%, there is a separate category for the entrepreneurs as well. Because it's so unique. They are all of the same exact mindset of, I want to get the fuck out of my comfort zone as quick as I can, because I don't feel comfortable being comfortable. So I just want to get uncomfortable and chase my dreams and do this and that. You get me?
Yeah.
And I think that's the same mindset in every single entrepreneur you can meet throughout your life experiences. So, you know, the question that we can ask is different, but specifically to you now, because you've answered multiple questions with this story. It was a really nice story. But is there a piece of advice you would give to your younger self starting out as an entrepreneur?
Sure. So what is the advice I'm going to be giving to my younger self is the path of success can be joyful, because normally it is not. And for most people it's not. Let me explain. So when we want to get out of the comfort zone, we have a big fight. Why? Because we are fighting with our self-image. We are fighting with our programming that we had that brought us to that point. The beliefs, the habits, the images that we had, and all the things that is within our subconscious mind. And subconscious mind is 1,000,000 times stronger than the conscious mind. Why? Because when you think about something, about 20 to 40 neuron per second is fired in your brain for every second. When your subconscious mind doing a process, between 20 million to 40 million neurons are fired in your brain every second. So our subconscious mind is 1,000,000 times stronger than us. So we have to go through the battle with our own subconscious mind, because we make a conscious decision, and then all the fear is coming, because our subconscious mind says that sit down wherever you are. You don't need to move. It's safer to be here because I don't know what's happening on the other side. So our subconscious mind brings all the fear of failure, fear of success, and fear of change, everything, all the things in its power to stop us from moving forward. So we have to go through all those things. So we are battling with our subconscious mind. So we become a warrior to go to fight. Because if we just try to do something, we never do it. If we do our best, until the block comes that is stronger than us, and then we stop. We have to do it no matter what. So that is the only way forward. So, and it means that we have to battle with our own subconscious mind. So sometimes what happens is that we become a wounded warrior. We win the battle, but we lose the war. So let me explain. I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of high profile people who have that issue, health issues, because they went through a lot of stress and anxiety to be able to just go on top,
Yeah.
to build that business. And it causes health issues for them. I've seen a lot of high profile people that have relationship issues because they still the time that they could spend with their loved ones to build the business. So they didn't curate their relationships enough to
Yeah.
just have a good relationship. So they are sacrificing their health and relationship. What about happiness? They thought that they're gonna be happy when they're standing on top, but with they are standing on top, but they feel empty inside. They are not happy. That's why we even see suicide for those people who are celebrities and very famous or something like that, because they feel betrayed, because everybody told them that you're gonna be on top and be happy. They are on top, but they're not happy, so they don't
Yeah.
feel it inside. So that is the dilemma that they have. But the problem is that society and everybody else has told us that is the only way to move forward in life. But I
But it isn't.
discovered no, it isn't. No, it isn't.
Yeah.
Everybody is talking about enjoying the journey, not just focusing on the destination. But nobody
Brilliant.
gives you a clear instruction how I can enjoy the journey if I'm battling all the time to proceed. What type of enjoyment is that within that battle? I'm just going to give you a gift. So we break it into smaller chunks, but instead of tasks, we call them games. So we have games instead of tasks. We change the name to game, not the task, because task creates resistance. But game is joyful. We all like to play the games. So what happens is that we have the list of games that are needle moving actions. So before we go to bed, we just think about the game that we want to play tomorrow. And then after we wake up, before we get out of bed, we just remember to do the warm-up. It means that, what is warm-up? It means that we do mental rehearsal. We imagine that we are playing that game in our head. And when we do that 2 times before going to bed and after wake up, we program our subconscious mind with that. And then during the day, we can start playing. So the 3 easy steps that helps us to just move along. There is more information in my book, and my book is accessible through my website, which is joyfulfix.com/book. But if you go to joyfulfix.com, on the contact page, there is some information, a quiz that people take, the free quiz, to find out their life quality score. So they can take that quiz and they can record their voice, and I receive that as a message, private and secure message, and I can connect with them to just have a free consultation, and we plan for whatever they have, and they can take that plan, do it themselves, or I can help them out.
Brilliant. Appreciate you so much, man. That was a great story, and the book sounds like a very good investment for them to purchase. Amazing. There's going to be a link in the description, and thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for providing the space.
Appreciate you. And that was Farzin Mazinani, ladies and gentlemen.